Late Night Health continues. I'm Mark Allen, along with the insane Daryl Wayne. Our co-host is Dee Wallace, who is having a good time.
I am. I make it a point to have a good time.
I know you do.
Life's too long not to have a good time.
If you don't have a good time, do you beat the host up or anything?
Of course.
Okay. Oh, God. He's also the host.
The insane Daryl?
The insane Daryl Wayne. We have on our phone, he was on the show a couple of months ago. His name is Danny Gutknecht. He's written a book called Meaning at Work. And since I met Danny, and I've talked to a number of people, and they hate their jobs. And apparently studies show that almost close to 90% of the American people hate what they do for a living. So there's no meaning at work. Am I right in that, Danny?
Yeah, you're. In fact, I was talking to somebody this morning, and they said that within larger companies, over 90% of people are just disengaged. So they're just showing up and
how sad.
Robotic.
Yeah, and that's got to add to your stress level, which breaks down your immune system, right? No wonder we're a sick country.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of studies coming out of Wisconsin and Rush University and North Carolina and UCLA that, when we're detached from our fundamental meaning, which you talk about a lot, I looked a little bit about what you were doing, and, just understanding who you are and loving yourself. And
yes.
That whole journey, it's super important.
It's super important. I agree. But don't you think, Danny, that a lot of us literally were taught when we were little to, we were even talking about that earlier. Smiling and being happy isn't enough. When I said I want to be an actor because it gave me joy, it was like, well, how are you going to make a living? Well, you need to do something,
you have to have a plan B.
Well, yeah. That's exactly what my mom said. Okay, well, be an actress, but get your degree first, so you have something to fall back on, right? Mm-hmm. And I think we're driven toward the financial aspect as opposed to the heart aspect of what fills us up. Yeah,
and you're so right about that. How did you feel when your mom told you that? Did you have a plan B?
Well, I got my degree in teaching, and I taught a year of high school, and then I said, okay, if I don't get out of here now, I'm never going to get out of here. And I moved to New York, and, the rest is kind of history. And I've got to say, I've been a teacher all my life, so I've used it in everything, but I've used it in everything that impassions me, like my healing work, like teaching acting, like teaching dance. Right? I married the worlds together, but what came first for me was where was my joy and what rocked my boat.
That's it. I've got a very good friend. His name is Bijoy Goswami out of Austin, Texas, and he's got a wonderful model on the website, humanfugue.com, and he actually talks about the tensions in our life that, the fugue is basically a way to look at the tensions in our life and how to create harmony with those. And I've always thought, hey, you start with joy, you follow your heart. And part of the thing that I think you're hitting on, Dee, is that we're a little overexpressed with how much money we need and how important it is in our lives, instead of, kind of looking and going, hey, what's my joy and how do I make an existence of this? And, do I really need all these things around me? If I just pursue my joy, then ultimately, some of those things may get better down the road, but or I may acquire more resources down the road, but not at the expense of, pursuing my joy.
I find the happier I am, the more I create.
Yeah.
And then, the more money comes in. And then I get to do things just because I want to do them for people or for myself that doesn't involve the money. But that creates so much happiness that creates more money.
which is a great thing. It's like, I love what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. I talk to people. It's, I don't, it's what I've done.
And you help people.
Yes,
right?
and I
You
do
help
help people.
people.
I do help people. And I just want to do more of it. But there has to be some kind of financial reward because we have
But I don't think
physical
that's not what you're saying, Danny, right? You're not saying there shouldn't be a financial reward. We're just saying, I think what you're saying in your beautiful book, Meaning at Work, is that to go for the heart and the joy first and then allow that to create the money for you.
Yeah, I see it as a dance and as a tension. Carl Jung, who I think is one of the, probably most profound people to ever really understand the human condition, talks about a tension of the opposites. And joy and meaning seem to work, and if you really start to evaluate them, they do operate differently than resources and money and things like that. But there's a good tension of the opposites, and when you hold those two things at bay, you start to really gain a deeper perspective about, hey, it's not worth chasing money for the sake of money, right? I understand that I have to exist, and there's nothing wrong with doing very well in society and making, progress. But if it's at the expense of your heart, if it's at the expense of your joy, then you'll continually be unsatisfied, and you'll never be able to fill that hole up.
When we talked last time, you said that many millennials will turn down higher-paying jobs for jobs that bring them joy, that bring them happiness, and that give meaning to their lives.
Yeah, millennials started, I think, to a certain extent, shunning money in pursuit of joy. Generation Z, who they're saying is somewhere between 21 and 19 and 21 now, they seem to even have that in perspective. They're saying, hey, I can go out and pursue a good existence, and I can also pursue my joy, and I'm not willing to compromise either. And so it'll be interesting to see how what that generation brings to our cultural perspective.
But at the same time, we do need the cash. I mean, so working for money, the operative word here is work, right? And
yeah, but that statement, if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
Absolutely.
And that's the way I feel with my healing work and my channeling. I
what
can't
about your
wait.
acting work?
I get more joy out of the healing because I feel like I'm serving people and also filling myself up at the same time. Now, do I know that movies like E.T. heal people all over the world? You bet. Absolutely, I know that.
It's funny. I did an educational video pro bono a number of years ago, and every now and then somebody will say, "What's your favorite thing that you ever produced?" And is it appearing on the Lifetime Network or doing a talk show or whatever? And it's this little 6-minute video that I did promoting this local school in the Conejo Valley. It just brought me a lot of happiness and joy, and I'd love to do more of those. But again, you still,
Yeah, and I think it's the balance you're talking about.
Yes, exactly.
And I think, too, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the millennials are demanding also from the workplace to be more gentle, to work better hours, to have that balance, right? And that, because that allows you to have more meaning of work, and the employers that actually listen to you, listen to your ideas, that makes us want to be there more. Does that work into it?
Yeah, I think what they're rejecting is just the mechanical nature of being viewed as a machine part,
Absolutely.
And that's not human. One of the things that I really liked about, I watched a video on your site, Dee.
Yes.
And I like the way that you talk about you have to learn to love yourself, and your understanding of helping others is not breaching that line. Is actually helping others love themselves instead of. I think that's what you're getting at in that video, and I love the way that you kind of express that. And I think that's what's going on in the bigger workplace today, is this movement of meaning, which is really how we interpret the world and how we show up in it, and how are we able to express our interests and our passions. It's shifting, and so we've come out of this age where institutions gave us meaning, and now it's falling upon ourselves individually, and that's actually a good thing, right? We're learning to love ourselves and not sacrifice too much of ourselves, because then that becomes as you say in your video, a relationship where you're kind of overreaching.
And at the same time, relationships are harder and harder to come by. We talked about this earlier, especially with millennials, because they're glued to their phones. And even having relationships in the workplace, I think, is more difficult because of an abuse of technology. Would you guys agree or disagree?
Well, I think technology closes us off from communicating with each other, even though it appears that it opens up that communication. We're not listening to hearts. We're not listening to what really matters to people. We're looking at a text and not receiving the emotional impact. I don't know, Danny, what do you think?
Well, one of the funniest things that I run into is how they're trying to solve engagement with technology out of Silicon Valley. It's like, well, you can't. It takes a real conversation. And, one of the things that's very interesting is even when I hire people here to get on the telephone and have a human conversation with somebody and find out, hey, what are your passions, your interests, and are you in the right environment to express those? And we help companies kind of understand what that is in the workplace. One of the things that's really interesting is it takes about 2 or 3 weeks when I'm training somebody before they go, oh, wow, this is a different conversation. And you get that realization that, we are not having heart-to-heart conversations anymore.
Exactly.
They're all rational, and that, we almost talk that way.
That really lessens, for me, a level of respect. And if I don't feel respected, I don't find meaning in my workplace.
It's like me and my agents. And we've talked. Our guest is Danny Gutknecht, and he is the author of Meaning at Work. When we come back, I want to find out about the unemployment rate right now and getting jobs and ghosting. It's something that I discovered yesterday in looking for work. We'll talk more about that with Danny. Visit Dee at imdwallace.com and visit us at latenighthealth.com. More coming up. Don't go away. Late Night Health is proud of our partnership with the EBC, the Evolutionary Business Council. Check them out at ebcouncil.com.
You're listening to Late Night Health with Mark Alyn. The show continues in a moment.
Hi, I'm Dee Wallace. Do you want to learn to use and focus the greatest manifestation tool available to mankind? Then join me for my amazing 6-week program, Fun, Focus, and Fruition, where you'll receive morning videos and evening audio guidance, 2 15-minute privates with me, and 3 one-hour group webinars. It begins July 2nd and space is limited, so sign up now at imdwallace.com. Join now to begin changing your life forever.
Welcome to Guide to the Soul. This is Robert Clancy. If love had a time, a place, and a limit, it would be right now, everywhere, and forever. Your heart is an infinite ocean that holds that divine love. Be in gratitude for every moment of your life that you've experienced, even the smallest moments of love. For when you add up all the love within your soul, you become priceless. Share your wealth with the world. You can leave a monument on your grave as your life's legacy, or you can live a monumental life and leave your legacy of love.
For more inspiration from Robert Clancy, visit GuideToTheSoul.com or go to the Moments with Robert page on LateNightHealth.com.